Which is about the state of politics in the country. Senator Sylvie Kasanga, this is what you don't like very much, but anyway, we have to talk about.
As well.
Yes, you can do that as we transition the topic. I'll give you the opportunity to be the first to respond. And you will see that on page 4 of the Daily Nation, they are talking about One Kenya Alliance. One Kenya Alliance principles now dismissed talk of working with Ruto. And there has been this struggle, should I say, especially in the public perception affairs, because of identity check of One Kenya Alliance. People saying that probably they are not in it for the full course. From what you know, what is the real position about the desires of the One Kenya Alliance principles? Because yes, they come out and say we are in it to the end, but there are all these aspersions being cast that they may actually be buying time, preparing to support whoever may be at a particular opportune time.
Okay, so before I answer the question on OCA, just allow me to just weigh in a little on the previous topic, because one of the biggest misses, I would say, for devolution is something that was never actualized in the county government's bill, and that is the County Leaders Forum. There was an attempt, and I think because originally the senator was supposed to chair that forum.
Yes.
But they went to court, and the court, I think, blocked it. So now there's an amendment in Senate, which we are debating. We debated last week, where we want to rethink that and have the governor chair this forum. And why it is such a big miss is because that forum gets to seat all the leaders in that county, maybe once or twice. In fact, I think the proposal is twice a year, to discuss issues of development, because of the realization of the fact that funds are being devolved in different manner, in different ways. You have the Equitable Fund, you have grants, you have the CDF, you have the Women's National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and all sorts of other funds. And the idea of this forum was so that, leaders can sit down together and they can channel these funds to the needs of the people of that county. And I think that is a very big miss of devolution, and it is something, in fact, when this amendment was brought by Senator Kajwang, I said, oh my goodness, we should have done this probably in the first year of our duty as senators, because then it would have also helped strengthen the role of the senator, because right now, in as much as, we have all these tools of oversight that Senator Cherargei has mentioned, is still not adequate. In fact, some of the large counties, I can tell you, like Makueni, it's very difficult to oversight Makueni by, waiting to hear what the residents have to say about certain projects and things like that. I mean, we needed a deeper mechanism. But a leaders forum would have been good. It would have been an excellent opportunity for the governor and the senator to sit together and talk development matters away from politics.
All right.
So from
and now into
OCA,
politics.
OCA is definitely in it to the end. In fact, I don't know where these conversations are coming from. This must be a making of the media. This, I don't know where it's coming from. We were also surprised and shocked to hear them talking about, I don't know with which candidate and which candidate. These conversations have not been had within OCA. OCA is still strong, and even individually, when we sit and rally back to our political parties, we are very clear on this issue. And we leave our principles in the end to make the determination of who will be the flag bearer of the OCA team. But we are in it, and the interesting thing is that there's this perception now like we are deep into political activity. We've barely started politicking. Just because 2 or 3 people are doing this it's about meet the citizens tours that are happening. We've barely started politics. In fact, once we do our national congress, what do you call them? Our National Congress
National Delegates Conference.
Delegates Conferences, because WIPA has, we have ours this week on Thursday, and I think all the others are going to have theirs. Then you're going to see serious politics starting. Okay. So we are yet to start. The chips are far away from falling into place. So I know you always like to speculate and try to push us to get an answer.
That's not
but
me.
It's still too soon.
It's the politicians to do the politics. We are just observers and reporters. I'll get to the deputy party leader of Ford Kenya later on. But Governor Lee Kinyanjui,
I will stand corrected. I'm no longer the party leader.
When did you resign?
I actually relinquished my position.
When was that?
About 2 weeks ago, when Ford Kenya had its NDC. I couldn't stay in Ford Kenya when I actually believe in voting for Raila. So
you didn't attend
on principle, I walked out, yes.
So which party do you belong to now?
I will figure out when the time comes.
But you're still a fully subscribed member of
Parliament,
Kenya?
yes. I have
Ford
not.
Kenya?
For me to lose my position, I have to, yes, to officially write a resignation letter, which I'll do in February.
Wow.
But
okay.
I'm no longer the deputy party leader.
So who is? No one?
A friend of mine is from Kisii Member Parliament. Is called Mr. Luke Obiri.
He's now the deputy party leader of Ford Kenya?
Yes, who was an independent, so he's also waiting to cross.
Interesting development.
He's in purgatory with me.
Purgatory, you say. You're so spiritual. Well, Governor Lee Kinyanjui, IEBC released a statement regretting that there appears to be early campaigns, and it's very difficult for IEBC to even regulate this because they can only regulate campaigns within an election season or an election period. And an election period begins when the IEBC gazettes the notice of general election, which, according to the election operations plan, this is something they'll do on the 14th of March 2022. So here you are, and I've seen you in several meetings of Raila Odinga, whether it's in Mount Kenya or even in Ukambani. Why are you engaging in premature campaigns, and how then do we deal with, let's say, if there are events that would go against Elections Act and Code of Conduct, how do we check against such political leaders at a time that IEBC cannot take any action?
Okay, I think first it's good to confirm that it is not right to over-administrate politics. There's a date from now, go campaign. It doesn't work like that. I can assure you that there are some places, if you have not declared your intention to run for governor, by now you are out of the race completely. Now we're talking of bigger seats beyond the governor. So I think if you wait until March, and then by April you're supposed to have nominations, you technically have just about a month or month and a half for you to sell your agenda to the people. So it is not, those administrative deadlines cannot work. But I think beyond that, I think Kenyans really need to interrogate what their leaders are saying. And the only way you can interrogate is listen to them. You cannot know what is in a man's head until you listen to them. And I think this is where we really should be actually challenging the media. That beyond people going into markets and saying we'll do this, also sit, interrogate them and question. Because a lot of the things that are said during campaign trails, some of them can't work. And some of them are not even made with the intention to work. They're just made out there.
Your case in point of what can't work?
I mean, we don't need to go because now it would look
No, you just don't need to interrogate.
No, I'm saying, but the role of media is to interrogate some of those things. You know, we go out there. I mean, if you read the paper every day, there's a pledge of this, a pledge of the other. But now it's to look beneath that pledge. What does that stand? And you know now, because Kenya is a big country, the people of Western want to hear about Mumias. If you go to the coast, they want to hear about land justice issues. If you go to the central Kenya, they're talking about coffee and tea and whatever else they grow. If you go to the Rift Valley, there'll be issues about that. So when will you get time? And even when you talk about the coast, it's not one, you know, like unanimous sort of issue that you're dealing with. So people need to go out there. I think all we need is that the conversations that should be there, one should be not on a hate platform. We don't need to go and castigate other people. Let us say what we want to do and make sure it is something that can work. And actually,
but do you think there's anything IEBC can do, or that's a matter that should be left to the criminal investigating agencies in case of violence at elections, or the campaigns or the hate speech and what have you?
First, you know, the definition of a campaign is very tricky. Even going to church and you're a politician, that is perceived to be a campaign too. Even if you go to watch a soccer game, it's still... So defining a campaign that I'm out on a campaign sometimes is very difficult. You have candidates who have not even declared that they're going to run. They're saying they're going around listening like, former prime minister. So how do you say again their... So I'm saying it's very tricky to define what a campaign actually is. But I think more importantly, the issue of hate and the issue of, person-oriented kind of campaigns that I'm here to say how bad so-and-so is, not what I'm going to do. I think that's what we really need to discourage. So that if you're from Western Kenya, we want to know what's your agenda for Western Kenya. If you're from the Turkana region, how are you going to address the pastoralist issues? And I've attended a few meetings, those Azimio meetings, and was very impressed to hear whole delegations with whole memoranda talking about what they've discussed. how they want things to be done. And I think that's the kind of constructive discussion that we should be engaging.
Okay. Yeah. And Senator Cherargei, before I get to the former deputy leader of Ford Kenya, so you've been on the trail for quite a bit, and the deputy president whose presidential bid you support, unless that has changed, has also been very vocal. When you're looking at the law and what IBC is telling us, because people have been asking, why isn't IBC taking action against some of those sentiments or actions that you may deem to be contrary to the regulations of campaigns? And now they're telling you there's nothing we can do until such a time that the election period begins, which is on the 14th of March 2022. How then do we manage our affairs as a country, and how do we ensure that politicians are heeding to what would be the code of conduct?
Thank you, Sam. As I transition to comment on that, is that finally, as we move to the Evolution Conference and we take stock from tomorrow and up to the weekend, I want just to ask counties now to focus on the basics and ensure the solution becomes a success. For us in Nandi County, we are yet to see any even a single county complete project within the 5 years that the county government has.
Senator, you know, I don't have the ability.
So finally,
wait a minute, I don't have the ability to verify that, Senator. So,
but you can do that. You have number of serious networks.
I'm saying I don't have that opportunity now on the show. So I'll say I will have to say that those are your views, not of Citizen TV.
Yes,
so,
of course, those are my personal views.
Yes.
I'm speaking now as a Nandi County Senator.
So just carry on.
I'm speaking as a member of Royal Media Services. I'm speaking as a Nandi County Senator.
Just carry on with the question about politics.
Yes?
Just carry on with the question on politics and how we regulate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I want to say that, of course, IEBC will of course, I agree that their campaign timelines, the Elections Act is very clear. I know all of us are guilty of the same, because even as my brother Lee has said, is that all of us have begun campaigning. Even when nowadays you attend any public function, even you get number of MCAs in church function, in field roles, people have started campaigning. So it's a bit tricky, Sam, because everybody is guilty. And you know, Kenyans, if you delay, you don't, as my co-panelists have said, if you delay, you don't tell your intentions. Maybe, for example, if you are running for presidency all the way to the MCA, if you don't declare your intention, it is too late as of now, because one age will tell you, when you walk just across the villages, when you don't declare early enough and you don't show signs of campaigning early enough, walk around and the people will tell you, you know, wewe umechelewa, tulishaamua ni fulani wa fulani. So it's our societal. You know, Kenyans after every election, Kenyans get into campaign mode. It is something we must accept.
No, is it the Kenyans or the politicians, Senator, really?
No, it's Kenyans, because Kenyans love politics.
Okay, Kenyan politicians then.
Because a number of politics my brothers have. But I agree, of course, any politician who does not have an ambition, of course, you are not supposed to be in politics. But I agree that there is a clear violation of the law. But where it's a challenge also, because some you must appreciate, for example, if the timeline of campaigning, for example, let's assume is 1 month or 2 months for presidential campaign. Tell me, how will you be able to cover the entire of Kenya and sell your manifesto and sell your agenda? Okay. So I agree, there is a thin line between violation of the Elections Act and what you need to do as a candidate. From where I sit, the Deputy President has not been campaigning, as you are aware. What he has been doing is just crisscrossing the country, greetings, receiving greetings, inspecting the government projects. Okay. Maybe he's assisting the churches and the youth groups through fundraisers. But of course, when the real campaign will be declared, the Deputy President, of course.
All right, Senator, I hear you. I hear you.
I want to say,
no, just hold on, Senator.
As we have moved from Jubilee,
Senator,
we are now UDA, and that is the vehicle that the Deputy President will use to run for presidency. Because, you know, you asked that question, and I'm trying to finish it very well so that I don't leave your viewers hanging, is that the party, we have already moved from Jubilee. I'm told Jubilee wants to chase us But we are already gone, so you don't chase people.
Senator, that's not what you're talking about. Can't we just focus on the topic? Because you say that the campaigns have been going on, you're saying there's a thin line, yet, according to the election operations plan, the campaigns will begin on the 30th of May 2022 for a period of about 2 months and a few days. Honorable Nyonka, I really need to stop myself from wanting to call you Senator.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you.
But Honorable Nyonka, I want you to have the final word because you look at what is happening and it would appear like an injustice to the Kenyan population. He says that it's Kenyans who begin the campaigns immediately, but I believe it's the Kenyan politicians. And this is my opinion.
Yes, yes.
But when, at the moment in Parliament, I don't know if they've been to the National Assembly lately, and when it's time to begin the business of the House, there's on a couple of occasions that the bill has had to be run because there's no quorum.
Yes.
And this is November 2021. We have a whole 8 months to go, and Parliament's life does not end. It continues until it hands over the baton to the next Parliament. Isn't this a form of injustice? Yes, you have your political ambitions, but what then is the value proposition to the people to give you a 5-year term and not a 4-year term so that you can be freed to go and do campaigns?
Thank you, Sam. I don't know where to start because you started from very far. Do I start discussing Oka first?
Leave Oka alone.
No, I will just make a small comment about Oka. I completely respect the members of Oka, Moses Wetangula, Kalonzo and Gideon and Tim. I just feel like the argument they are making why they can't support Raila is actually fallacious.
But they want to be president.
No, but you see, the argument they use, they don't say that they want to be president because they have better options. So far, I haven't heard that. What I've been hearing is that they want to be president because Raila can't be. And my argument is very simple. We went for the past elections, and we were a team. And we went and we were fighting about certain things we kind of believed in. You know, Kenyan politics may not have anything to believe in. And we lost the elections unfairly. Now, how do you turn around and say, this man who lost an election...
Unfairly? What do you mean unfairly?
I mean, we lost an election, you know, there were issues about our election.
But it was nullified. There was a repeat election. That,
the fact that it was nullified proves what I'm saying.
But there was an election.
The election which took place, we did not participate.
So how can you say that you lost unfairly?
Okay, go back to the previous election before that. Same thing. Go to the other one before that. Same thing. You know, Sam, wait. Sam, let me make my case. Don't make my case on my behalf.
It becomes difficult for you to say things that legally and factually are not correct.
But they are verifiable.
The Supreme Court
was the election free and fair? Sam, what did Kriegler say?
Just hold on.
Was the election free and fair?
Let's talk about what we can verify.
Thank you.
Supreme Court of Kenya 2013.
Yes.
It cleared the election of President Kenyatta.
No.
It did. It gave a judgment.
No, it didn't clear him. It said go back to the election.
2013, I'm talking about 2013.
Yes, I did.
So that's an election that you're still faulting, but it was cleared by the Supreme Court.
Hold on.
Just hold on.
Yes.
In 2017, the first election was nullified.
Yes.
There was a repeat election that was actually taken. It was also taken back to the Supreme Court.
You see, to you, the election was nullified because you saw it that way. We didn't see it that way.
A repeat election was ordered.
What I'm saying, yes, but that repeat election was nothing. Did you give us the servers?
Wait.
Sam. Don't legitimize.
I'm talking about from the conversation.
what I am saying.
Let's talk about reality because we're out of time and we need to finalize this.
Yes.
The Supreme Court in September 2017 nullified the election of Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
And ordered a repeat election within 60 days.
Yes.
There was a repeat election on 26th of October.
Did you give us the servers?
Just hold on. There was a repeat election on 26th
of
October.
How can you have a repeat election?
On 26th of October?
How can you have a repeat election when you don't know that the same server that you're going to use is the same which is going to make you lose an election?
Let's not talk about the server. Let's talk about the process.
Exactly.
That election was challenged at the Supreme Court, yes?
True.
And it was cleared by Justice
But the Supreme Court never produced the servers which told us who stole the election and who won. Why?
Okay. Who do you believe in? The Supreme Court or the servers?
There was no evidence provided to tell me whether Raila had lost the election fairly or not. Why? Because you needed to provide the servers for me to know.
Which election?
The last one.
The repeat election or the August election?
It doesn't matter. Did you give me the servers for both? Why didn't you give me the servers?
Oh, all right. You are to have the final word, but I don't know whether any of you...
No, let me finish what I was saying, Sam. Don't run away from me.
No, I'm not
you never gave me the servers. Give me the servers and I'll tell you who won the elections.
You have deviated from the conversation. So
Senator
allow
Kasanga,
us to have
please
just one last say. First and foremost is to say the devolution conference is on, and it's about climate change. And this is a very important conversation,
right,
Sam, not politics all the time, politics. I am particularly excited about the conversation on climate change because I believe as counties, again, we need to really, really up our game when it comes to this. And secondly, just for my brother, Honorable Nyonka, who I most of the time agree with what he has to say. This time around, Honorable Nyonka, Raila needs Oka. It is not the other way around. In fact, going by the last ratings, you need to come down from your high horse and come. We have unfinished business, which you have to come and finish.
We'll come and support you. We'll support you.
Okay, all right. Governor Kinyanjui, I don't know if you have any final word.
Yeah, okay. I think for me, for any person who is still on the negotiating table in conversations, I think time is of the essence. And as I have said, I think Kenya, also when we don't give alternatives, Kenyans become anxious.
Right.
And I must say that in the last 4 years, a single narrative has been created, and there was no alternative, and people got a bit anxious. Now there's an easing moment where now people are saying, yes, can we listen to this? And I think that is very important also because unlike other countries, if you go to some countries, there's a very clear sort of succession mechanism, even within parties and within the country. In Kenya, it depends on who comes up and who has the most money to run around and say all those things. So also when you leave people without options, they become anxious, and that's not good for the country. And I'm sure you've seen in some of the polls, there's that question that normally comes, are you hopeful? What if, is Kenya moving in the right direction? That thing of saying we're not moving in the right direction is an indication is that I don't have a script for the future. So I think it's important that leaders come, but these market or roadside conversations cannot answer the issues that Kenyans want. And I think what we need is a more detailed thing. Lastly, is that maybe it's wrong to say this, but in Kenya, more or less I think what my friend has said, Onyonka, Mheshimiwa Onyonka, that it's not that I have a better policy or have a better this, but that it's my time. Correct? And Kenyans are saying there's unemployment. Who has a solution to that question? Our economy is hurting. Who has a solution to that? So we do not want this thing of I supported you, you supported me, now is the time for this other one. And I think also the challenge we should have, the candidates that we have now, most of them are actually what you may call candidates who emerged actually during the Moi time. There's been no new faces coming. There are no Nyonkas and all these other people who can come and give us a fresh conversation. But I think for this election, it's too late in my view. And the two horses that are there, we will have to see which one gets there first.
Well, I see what you did right there. Senator Cherargei, I am afraid because if I give an opportunity, you can't stick to 20 seconds. Please try.
Finally, Sam, it is good to be back, and I've had a wonderful conversation. Finally, I want to just say that as Kenyans, as we continue with the campaigns, we should be peaceful, we should listen to each other. But I've seen the fake presidential opinion polls. But I want to say that those opinion polls are manufactured. As supporters of William Ruto, we are sure that there is a national narrative that you have seen even Governor Lee Kinyanjui is trying to drive, by saying that the popularity of Deputy President is coming down. It is far from over. Those are just manufactured fake polls because we are aware that the serious polls were done. The Deputy President should be enjoying more than 70% going into the future. Otherwise, it is wonderful, and we hope that as we go to devolution, we shall be able to come with solutions to ensure that the success devolution that we have in the country.
It's interesting how politicians will attack opinion polls and continue to give their opinion about what the polls should look like. Ongusu, you're saying that Oka may go all the way to the ballot, but what I believe they're after is a runoff. Let them join either the team of Baba or Ruto sides to make a count. We all know presidency is a two-horse race, and their presence won't even have any effect in any way Oka principals after slots in the government. Jacob Abere, in terms of numbers, using governance tools and development counties like Nakuru, Makueni, Kakamega, records speak. And I can publicly tell Governor Lee Kinyanjui kudos. J.M. Musoma, devolution success across in score of 10 out of 10. Mine is 6 out of 10 and 4 out of 10. Remaining is poor leaders, corruption, and weak. County assemblies, I believe, most lack governance and accountability skills. Forward as 2022 is concerned. Then Basho, alas, devolution is the best thing that has happened in this decade in Kenya. The men and women trusted with those resources got greedy and prioritized money-minting projects in supplies, roads, dams with over-budgeted items. Ethno-political patronage is rife still. Then Okello Mwalimu, you're saying during this year's devolution conference, I expect county bosses to outline clear policies they have put in place to reduce wastage, increase on-source revenue, tame graft, increase allocation of development, expenditure, and settle pending bills and create more job opportunities. And of course, that pending bills has been quite a thorn in several counties, and this conversation continues. I know Governor Lee Kinyanjui said that the revenues you collected were 2.8 billion shillings or so. Well, I'm looking at the same document from the Control of Budget, and on the chart they're talking about the money that was collected by your counties. It puts your county at a target of 1.8 and an achievement of 1.6. So you can look at those numbers and see where the truth lies or what is missing in those numbers. Thank you all, Honorable Richard Onyonka, Governor Lee Kinyanjui, Senator Sylvia Kasanga, and Senator Samson Cherargei of Nandi County joining us from Osoriot. Thank you for all that time. And my name is Sam Gituku. Up next is Sporty Monday. Ulis Raburu is here with the crew to tell you about the latest development in Manchester United, and of course why Manchester City will likely be the champions. Bye for now.